Time to start, I guess. Okay, hi everyone, if anyone is actually here. My name is Alex. I'm really happy to see you here in an online webinar. We call it like that. Our organization is called JavaScript Planet, and this is a workshop about CLIs, CLI in Node, to be precise. Yeah, if you present and you can type plus if you can see and hear me well, and otherwise type minus if you have any problems with video and or audio, then let me know, please. Otherwise, we will just begin. All right, let's pretend that you can hear and see me well then. And so the big topic today is it's called CLI node, and this is about how to construct CLI nodes, what are the instruments, what is the landscape, and so on and so forth. And agenda for today is I want to start with some introduction, say a few words about myself, and then about the workshop goals and the organization goals, let's say like that. And then we're gonna switch actually to CLI node topic, and first I'm gonna do some let's say description, not description, but more like introduction, why to construct CLIs at all, why to use JavaScript and Node for that, and what are the best the basic principles to construct a CLI program. And the last part is more about practice. So in that one we will see a few examples of a CLI node. We start with a simple one. It's just pure Node.js with JavaScript, with nothing else. And then I'm gonna talk a little about instruments that can be used for constructing a CLI again, and also Commander.js. I will talk a little about Inquirer. It's a library, and Vorpal, which is also a framework, can be compared with Commander.js. And the last part is called Oclif. So it's about Oclif framework, like a modern way to construct CLIs. So that's the plan. If you have any questions, I will gladly answer them. And yeah, let's see how far can we proceed then. And let's try to not make it in 2 hours, but maybe a little quicker. So shall we start? I think yeah, let's start then. And the goals for today is get to know each other, and then as I said, the introduction part, then when I'm gonna say a few words about JavaScript Planet and our goals and motivation. And then as I just announced, like understand basic CLI concepts, practice a little with CLI Node with popular libraries, and then overview popular questions and answers of Node.js, when this abbreviation, I guess, is mostly used. And yeah, that's it. And to start with, please introduce yourself. That would be really nice. If you can type in chat, who are you? Like your name, what is your programming experience? Maybe where are you from? That's also interesting. And yeah, if you have any questions about Node, I would like really to hear them, because that's, I think, the most interesting part of it, like communication, and to know what are real questions that you have. So maybe I can answer them. That would be great. And also you can keep them for the end of presentation, when it will be a really free format. But for now, yeah, meanwhile, I'm waiting for any introduction from the chat, and let's start. First, it's about JavaScript Planet workshop and about myself. So hi, I'm Alex, and this is JavaScript Planet, or that's how we are called. Like a small organization of enthusiasts, like a developer enthusiasts for different web technologies. I myself prefer JavaScript and don't like front end too much anymore, but still feel fine with it. And yeah, you can find me in Twitter, by the way. This is a link. It's Alex Korzhikov in Twitter, and I write some articles in Medium. I publish some things in GitHub, so you can follow me with this contact information. So if you can reach me, I will just gladly send you the presentation and all the materials you're interested in. Yeah, what we usually do is we perform a different. Yeah, I would say the whole organization is more about crafting in all kinds of different ways. For me personally, that means writing some code, going deep into details of some technologies like JavaScript-wise, and some related topics. Like I really like Node.js and some standards that are close to JavaScript, like web component standards, for example. JSON schema, also a different one. So yeah, I started to talk about crafting and what it means for myself. So yeah, writing some code, going deep into details of different technology specifications, and also I'm producing some material as well, like I'm doing right now, just doing some online webinar. I was hoping that more people can come in, because actually few more subscribed for that, so I was hoping that that they will come. So this is a workshop, one way of doing that. The other is actually writing articles, and yeah, I'm recently doing that actually, writing some Medium blog posts and publishing them to different publishers and see what feedback can I get, and then yeah, trying different strategies for that. We also do perform free interviews to get acquainted and help developers to evolve as software engineers, but also in soft skills, and train a little with the interviews, because that's sometimes a pain point for developers, because sometimes they doing some mistakes, and that can happen because of lack of practice or something else. So feel free to reach us, and yeah, maybe we can arrange some interviews for you, and that's free. And as I said, we performing some webinars as today, for example, and a few of them done in the past. It was advanced JavaScript and aspects of Node, the second one. Yeah, where we actually dug into some details of how Node modules are resolved in Node.js, so like Common.js way, and then imports. And we were talking a little about event loop. What is it? How it's working? What parts of it consists of, and so on. So today is the third one in a row. This is called CLI and Node, and a few more are planned, well, at least in theory. And this is a JSON schema, web components, WebAssembly, and effective Git practices. Maybe something else that's not decided in stone yet. So let us know if you have some ideas that would be that would kind of influence our agenda as well. And yeah, just let us know what you would like to hear from us, and we will see what we can do. And this is our goals. Our webinars are dedicated for software developers who want to learn modern JavaScript language and its main programming environments. Yeah, so our topic today is CLI Node, and yeah, we started with agenda already. So let's begin with some questions, like which JavaScript frameworks do you use, which JavaScript libraries do you use, and do you know what is the difference between libraries and frameworks as well? I will not wait for answer. But yeah, if you can wave in the chat that someone is still here, please say hi, hello. It would be really great. Meanwhile, yeah, there is some docs that I usually start with, like what material can you read after the webinar if you're interested in a topic. And this is a links I prepared for today. So first of all, I'm going to talk today about the Oclif framework, and that is done by Heroku company, which is a part of Salesforce, huge company. So they made this framework, Oclif, and they prepared also nice articles and nice documentation about it. So I encourage you to read at least a few articles from it, and I prefer this one, Evolution of the Heroku CLI. This is a really great. I can't say it's super clear. I would appreciate if they go deeper into details on why they did, why they think the goal was a bad solution and so on. If they are looking back now, what would be the design they implement for CLI for themselves. I'm not saying that this article covers it quite good, but I really would appreciate if it would be even more details. That would be really nice. So the first one, like what was the evolution of internal Heroku CLI? They started with the Ruby, if I'm not mistaken. Then they also tried one of the generation of the CLIs in Go language, but finally they switched to JavaScript, or to be more precise, to TypeScript, and yeah, this is a current way they're using for Heroku CLI to provide for their customers to manage some cloud services and cloud environments. That's what Heroku does. So yeah, if you wanna read about pros and cons of using different technologies and why some parts of Oclif framework were designed like it was. That's a nice article to read, indeed. Yeah, the second one is also by Heroku. It continues 12-factor web app, 12-factor app article. So this is about this was quite famous, I think, about how to construct web applications at all, and this is kind of a second part, but only about CLIs, so not that popular, let's say, and yeah, they cover really good best practices and basic principles. We're gonna talk about few of them today as well, but they really go deep. So yeah, I encourage you to read this as well. This is a talk in YouTube from Jeff Dickey, also author of these articles that we just opened. So I encourage you to read this one. Nice tutorial how to build a JavaScript command line with Node.js. This is let's say framework agnostic. Not really. It actually covers quite nice libraries like Inquirer, if I'm not mistaken, and also Figlet, Chalk, and so on. So you can during reading this article, you can construct a really easy application for CLI without any framework. So it would stay clear and relatively short. And also would be really powerful in the end. So yeah, I think it's a great place to start, actually, to just read this tutorial how to make a CLI in Node.js without frameworks at all. I think that would help. And of course, not core concepts. I just added this link to Node.js official site, which they don't have much articles on tutorials, but what they have here are really of good quality, and they explain main topics like event loop, timers, what else? well, how to debug and so on. I wouldn't say that's maybe already outdated, but others like break compression in streams, for example, yeah, they're not only interesting but cover the main topics of Node.js. Package manager for JavaScript, which is npm, just the official link to official site if you haven't seen it, but yeah, I guess you saw. And the last one is me myself, a blog that I just started in Medium. So if you wanna support me a little with claps and likes on Medium, yeah, I'm writing some articles about CLI as well. There are a few, 3 of them. One is not CLI with Commander and Query. This is the second one. The first one is actually basic CLI in Node.js, and the last that I just published a few days ago is a modern way to build a CLI with Oclif in Node. Yeah, so those are tutorials can help with how to start developing a CLI in Node and so on. All right. So yeah, let's get start with the topic, with the main topic of this webinar today. First some part from Wikipedia. What is a CLI? It's a command line interface. So interacting with a computer program where the user types some lines of text, basically commands, and then the program handles them, and yeah, maybe can maybe does some responses, maybe not, hopefully does. And the main interaction happens with lines of text in a tool that might be called as terminal. In most resources it's called terminal, but I think it might be you might understand this. This is a really basic stuff. All right. Next part is like I'm trying to answer myself for questions like why to generate CLI and why to make CLI in Node.js and JavaScript. So this I start with these questions: why JavaScript? Why not? But also we want to have some examples, good examples of which CLI tools are you using? So which CLI program do you like and do you use the most? Those are questions for chat. Well, then I'm gonna talk to myself. I think this is which CLI program do I like? Well, I think the one that I really like the most is Git, but not sure is it because of CLI itself, because it's a CLI based program, or from concepts that it brings to a developer, and also how good is it, how good VCS is in the end. And the one that I use the most might be Git as well, but also, of course, for JavaScript developers that might be NPM. So I could answer for these 2 questions: first Git and the second one NPM. But it could also differ from what area are you working with. Like for system administrators, it could be some bash utilities, Linux utilities, like I don't know. I'm not even talking about CD in terminal. That's the easy part. But also utilities like grep, like cat, like yeah, even checking the running processes might be a good CLI to answer here. So yeah, some of these. Yeah, and I mentioned Git and npm. That's my personal answer to that, and the others you might heard of would be gulp and grunt as good old JavaScript runners and task runners, where you can describe some tasks and then you start running them with gulp CLI, with grunt CLI. So nowadays, actually, there are much more. I think when big frameworks, front-end frameworks, started to appear in 2014 or even before, community around these frameworks started to produce different CLIs to scaffold projects, to do the routine work for developers, such as building, testing, maybe packaging, publishing, and yeah, all kinds of tasks that you want to automate. You don't want to do yourself at a regular basis. And those are Yeoman. This is, I think, the most popular generator CLI in JavaScript world, at least. And the other one is, as I said, framework specific, like React app, Angular CLI, Polymer CLI, which help you to generate projects for these technologies like React, Angular, or Polymer. But there are many more, like for npm concurrence challengers. You can remember Yarn on Bower, or yeah, whatever new tool they are developing now is called Tink, if I'm not mistaken. Like npm on steroids, something like that. Yeah, so why CLI? Why I'm talking about CLI today? And yeah, what is the idea to make a new CLI at all? Well, I like the idea of building a new CLI because yeah, whatever routine job you can imagine you're doing every day, or well, not every day, but once a week or once a month, for example, when you want to release something or you want to do other stuff. And when you can think of that would be great to automate it, and then where CLI comes in. So it's not just a script that helps you to manipulate some kinds of pieces of data, but it actually some tooling that you could use regularly, and that could decrease a number of not a number, but amount of time that you spend on all kinds of tasks that you have to perform. So it decreases your routine time, and actually you can construct the CLI and have fun to make it, and then you can even integrate it in other different tools. Like you can imagine one of the basic principles of CLI utilities in Linux is for these tools to support a thing called piping, when you can take some input from other tool and produce output and actually pipe it to another utility, and there you can make some CLI that will be in the middle of different processes, and that even help even more. Like you're not even doing your regular task, but you can integrate it and in some bigger pipeline, and you just make someone's life easier. So that's great. Yeah, in a nutshell, it's like improving developer experience and task automation. Ooh, automation, of course. Let me just quickly fix it in here. Of course, automation. Yeah, and of course, and also that's fun. if you might say, yeah, that's if you like to playing with JavaScript with CLIs to know how shell works, what the processes, what would be the best way to read some files, to write some files, and not blocking your user input output and so on. So yeah, if you just like to go into details, that could be a reason to play with the CLI already. Then the other question I ask myself is, why Node? Why would you use Node for CLIs? Well, first of all, it's because Node stands for JavaScript, and if you like to practice with JavaScript, then yeah, here we are. The other one is it's quite funny. I like to quote it every time. It's Arthur Lowe, the guy Jeff afterwards, if I'm not mistaken. He was one of the founders of Stack Overflow, and yeah, here's a little blog post and the principle of least power, in which yeah, he references to a few articles and Tim Berners-Lee topic about the principle of least power, in which he applies to JavaScript and says that, yeah, JavaScript might be not the most performant tool ever, but as it's quite easy to write some code in it and start writing code in it, eventually you write some application in JavaScript because it's just easy. And yeah, this he calls Natworth's law. Any application that can be written in JavaScript will eventually be written in JavaScript. Next one, it's yeah, because it's JavaScript, it's really fast and easy to develop itself. The other one is that NPM infrastructure is so huge. Like now is in a registry, there are more than 1 million packages registered. So you can imagine there are packages for all kind of needs you can even imagine. I'm pretty sure there are even some Docker related CLI packages. Yeah, let's just search for Docker to have fun. Yeah, Docker CLI.js, not CLI wrapper for the Docker command line interface. That's I could imagine that there is such a thing here. Funny. Okay. Yeah, not because of that, but also that JavaScript, especially server-side JavaScript, is a module, not module-based. That's not a word that I was looking for, but more like JavaScript modules in server-side. That's already that's how it's constructed, right? It's like yeah, you publish a package to npm, and then you do npm install locally, and then you have all the modules on your local machine. So they are easy to plug and play. You just call require or import, and yeah, that's here we go. You just need to specify a path maybe to require it from the local directory, which you know where it's located. Yeah, so it's easy like that. The one cons that I heard recently is yeah, why to build a CLI in Node? Like you want for your users to install Node first, And yeah, that could be a reason. I agree with that. But the thing is that we have, yeah, how many, like 2 million JavaScript developers in the world, and yeah, if you construct a CLI for eventually for, not eventually, but especially for JavaScript developers, they already have Node and npm installed locally, so that shouldn't be a big deal. And of course, you have to install it on some environment where you want your application to run. Maybe I'm not saying that's required, but yeah, you could do that, or at least on some server which performs a pipeline tasks like build, test, and so on. So what I'm saying here is it's not actually a strict contra-argument, because yeah, for front-end developers, Node and npm most likely are already installed, so you don't have to worry about it. For the rest, yeah, then that's a good argument that yeah, you don't want them to install Node. But for that, actually, there are some packages that can help you to build just a pure executable without Node being installed separately. Well, yeah, they are not so good ways to do that, and most solutions are just packaging Node or an npm in the one executable with your application. So Node takes like 99% of the whole executable, and the rest is, of course, your Node modules, which is kind of a black hole. But yeah, sometimes it just fits, and actually in my job basis that fits the best, because we are developing our own CLI for front-end developers inside our company, so that fits the best. Okay. The next one, if you go already through the basics, is shell. What is a shell? Yeah, it's a program that takes commands from the keyboard and gives them to operating system to perform. Yeah, there are different kinds of shells available, and the most the most common might be bash born again shell, and the sh just a shell was the first choice, and then bash in the, I think in 80s, or yeah, in 80s probably, because it's related to a Linux distribution when Linux appeared. Maybe it was the beginning of 90s. So the bash new shell was constructed, and now we have even a greater solution like ZSH and more of them. Corn, I've heard, I never used it myself. Yeah, essentially is some program. So bash is a kind of shell which can call some system utilities, but also can help with reading files, can help with forking or creating new processes, and so on. So I myself using ZSH on my Z shell, a really great tool with all the abilities to save your history of commands and manipulate and auto completion, all of that. So it's really nice one with a super pluggable system, really great. And yeah, this shell is responsible for many operations, like I said. Yeah, you can interact with it, of course, but yeah, you interact in it not because only you can, but you want to actually start some programs. You want to see some resources and so on. So there are different kinds of interaction with shell, and this is how you execute a shell. It can be interactive mode or non-interactive mode when you want to call a program with a shell, but yeah, you call it in the background and you actually don't care if that because it doesn't need you to ask you some details. It can be login or non-login for mode of shell that you start with. And there are, as I said, some built-in commands and scripts, and for bash you might remember a few of them, right? Like echo and some cat ls and so on. So those are precompiled for your system. I'm trying to look at my oops. Yeah, sleep, kill, cp, chmod, and so on, all kinds of shells. Right. Yeah, in here I wanted to show actually how the process looks like when you start a new process in bash, and how it looks like. And I'm not a huge professional in that. I just wanted to show that it's possible. Yeah, let me. Where is OBS? I've lost my show all windows. Can't find my OBS, so I will not show the console, I guess. All right. So what are the basic principles a CLI program should consider? When you're building a CLI? So first of all, you want a user to be not stuck with yeah, what is he doing or what's going on. So and that's always regretful when a user just downloads some utility and then yeah, you don't know what to do with it because it doesn't have a nice UX user experience. So a help message is the first time that you want to build in your new CLI tool. The other one is when you see some documentation consistency with what you experience in local, that can be avoided it would be actually great if a user can understand why is that, what's going on, and what needs to be updated, and that can be done with version, of course, like with a version flag in your CLI and so on. Then logs, matches, and errors. Well, that's not only CLI. It's not only CLI related, but for any application, when you properly construct your application, that it can actually produce good logs, good messages or error messages, not showing the whole stack trace for a user. That actually doesn't matter for a user. Maybe for debug reasons that would matter, but for debug reasons you might want to have some flag for like a debug true, for example, which then will produce all kinds of valuable information with the stack traces as well, maybe. But yeah, that's not necessary for user to see all the stack trace if you just in a regular mode, let's say. Yeah, then there are main principles of Unix philosophy that a CLI might want to follow, which also not related to CLI only. And yeah, those principles, yeah, you can just open the Wikipedia article and follow them all because they sound at least really great. But yeah, one of them is do one thing and do it well. So yeah, probably your CLI should do one thing, but do it well. Well, these CLIs like CP or make dir or echo, they're doing just one thing. Keep it simple. Yeah, this principle that applies to everyone, to everything. Modular and composable programs that we discussed briefly with JavaScript. That's sort of easy to achieve. For environments wise, you might want that all kinds of users that you build a CLI to for all kinds of environments, and those are Linux, macOS, Windows, and they can be distributed as a package for all of these environments. That would be a goal for a CLI. Don't see any questions, so we'll just continue. And now the part is about practice. Yeah, in this one, I will not show a demo. I just will briefly describe what's going on. So what actually happened here, we create a new folder, mytest CLI, then I do npm init, and this command makes a package JSON for you, and it asks you all kind of questions, what kind of package you want to build, and so on and so forth. And then you produce an index.js file with console log hello CLI. And when you type npm start, it will not start work immediately, because by default npm start searches for server.js, not index.js, but you can change it in a package.json with a main property. The next one, install global local package, and that actually adds your program or link to index.js to a main script of your package to the folder where your npm modules, global modules are located, and this is included into path system environment variable, so you can so when the program is executed within a shell, within bash, so bash actually looks tries to interpret the program that you inputted, and then it tries to find this package inside all of the locations that are available for inside the path variable, and it searches if there is such a program declared in there. And yeah, in this case, that would be your mytest CLI link to index.js, so you can make it executable in that way. And then you do mytest CLI, so you should be able to see this your package. Hello guys, can you wave me or say hi if you still hear me or can see me? Hi guys, can you hear me and see me? Hi Jan, nice to hear. Nice to see that someone is watching it. Yeah, then I will appreciate if you ask some questions as well. But yeah, let me then continue. So yeah, let me then maybe show my Visual Studio Code, and let's do a short tutorial for making a CLI like that, like it's described in a previous slide. Oh yeah, of course my my OBS has gone for some reason. Okay, without demonstration then. Yeah, next part is when you do npm init, yeah, you will be produced with this kind of package JSON, and as I said, the main the main property is what it actually is used for require for exporting. So in this property you specify which file would be the exported for external packages to use it, for external package. When you say require my test CLI or import something from my test CLI, then this indicates which file the npm or Node precisely will have a look at, and then you will have all kinds of exports that are done in this server.js file. The next one is it's a bean. It's a quite important property, considering these last two commands in here. So bean actually references to a file which will be linked to my test CLI, to a name of your package.json inside the npm global modules folder, which I added to the bus, as I said. And when you actually do this command, npm install -- global, that will make your server.js executable, which is not done by default when you just creating a JavaScript file or when you do in npm init or whatever. So npm will do it for yourself, or will do it for you when you do npm install -- global, or when you do npm link, or you can also make it yourself executable. That's also fine. Yeah, the next one is that's just a fun one. So you can actually specify URL in package.json, and that would if you specify it to any GitHub repository, to the issues tab, then with the command npm bugs, you will go to the your browser will open this link. So it would kind of make it easier for to report some bug or to report some feedback. I will change my location because I'm out of battery. Yeah, but that's not everything that you have to do, because if you have a if you even did npm link or npm install -- global, and you have binary property set up and everything, this command will still not work for you, because by default, when Bash or any other shell program interprets the script that it got as an input, as I said, it tries to find this executable in a file, but then it forks the shell process, and then it replaces the process with this new program body, let's say like that. But the default interpreter that it tries to use for that, like for the body of a program, is still the shell itself. And there where the shebang comes in, and this is the first line in a file when you can specify which interpreter to use for your file. So whenever you're constructing a CLI, you have to specify this shebang in the top of your JavaScript file, and don't worry about the sharp sign. It actually will be visible fine by Node and by npm, so it's a correct syntax, because it specifies which interpreter to use for this script especially. And after you add this and you make your binary file executable, or just do an npm link or npm install global, then you should see your my test CLI working properly in your environment. All right, so what's next? Next would be to parse arguments to see what you can, what a user wants from you, and that could be some flags, options, arguments, and so on. And this is possible quite easily in Node.js, because you have this global process object available in your script, And one of the properties it have is argv, which contains an arguments list, like array. And the first item in the array is the program itself, the interpreter, which in our case is some node, node for my my main npm version, let's say, my main node version, which is some node environment variable, if I'm not mistaken. And the second parameter is the script itself, the script location itself. So you will see / your username, and then in the end my test CLI, and then server.js. And the rest are just all the arguments you pass to the script, to the program. So yeah, you will get all the arguments in there, and then you can parse it in whatever way you want it. Yeah. So as I said, in this example, when you the output that is console local process arg would be the node version pass, then the server.js pass, the full pass for this file, and then hello world, and this would be a 4 items array outputted in here. The other part is REPL, which is internal node module that you can use also for constructing your CLI, but I saw it in one of the packages, but it's not the one that is mostly used for constructing CLIs. Honestly, I haven't tried it myself to do something with a module REPL. I mean, I used REPL of Node. That's I think everyone did it. Like if you just type Node in your command line, you will get the REPL, and yeah, you can do all kinds of JavaScript text in there, and it will be interpreted correctly by Node itself. But REPL model is quite powerful. If you open it, I just close it. So you can actually specify many parameters, and even like a function that will check the syntax of a line lines that you provided as an input, and then it can do whatever stuff you want to decide. In this in here, my val function, if you look how it's it's declared. You see in a REPL.start you specify some parameters, so, how to evaluate, how to write it. So this my eval function. In here, it uses the other module, which is a VM internal module of Node itself, which is V8 binding to JavaScript, to Chromium internals. Well, JavaScript engine basically, and you say I just wanna run the script in some context. And that's it. You get some result in the end, or you get an error in the end, and that's what you can do, and that will just interpret your JavaScript as is. But as I said, I saw it in some package. I couldn't remember actually which package, which CLI I saw the usage of REPL naturally. But what I saw from other libraries, that they are not using REPL directly, so they. Maybe that's not needed. I don't know the reason of it myself. All right. Yeah, I will skip a demo because of the technical reasons. In here, I wanted to show how to basically parse process.argv and to see if there is a help flag or a version flag. And in this case, just show help the description and the version from a package.json itself. So you can do it in like 5 or 6 lines. You require package.json, you get the whole JSON object in here. You get a version from it, you deconstruct the version and details description from it. And the next step would be to check if the process argv contains either the help flag or version help. And if it contains one of them, you just output the description of version. So it's really a simple one. Finally, we go into libraries details. This is Commander.js. I know the word old might be interpreted as not really respectful, but we have this this well-known sentence like good old package, and this can be a Commander.js package as well. So yeah, a very mature tool, let's say. And also good thing about it is that it's relatively small. I think it's around 1,300 lines of code, even documented code itself. So yeah, it's relatively small, and the best thing about it doesn't have any dependencies, production dependencies to use. So if you're a big fan of inventing your own wheel, I think Commander.js can challenge you to not do that, because what can you do something better than that, not using any other production dependencies? So yeah, I would say it's good enough. And they have a nice syntax of declaring the options and declaring the commands. So this is a main syntax you use for Commander. You require Commander, and that actually exports by default the Commander, the command class instance. So you already have a program as a command declared. And on this command, you have a few ways to declare what you want. And the first one is to show a version. In this case, you just show in the version, which in our case might be imported from package.json, and then you put it not as a constant, but you copy it from package.json property. And these kind of declarations help you to parse arguments, because you don't have to do the thing that we have done in the previous example when we checked if actually the arguments contained one of the flags. So Commander.js will take care of it. So you just specify the shorthand notation and the full notation for option, the description for it. And when you do the good thing about Commander.js and also other different frameworks is that it's not only have a syntax to declare the options and commands for you, but it will auto-generate the output based on this declaration. So when you just type help, it will show, you can type this -p minus peppers, and that would mean add peppers. That's obviously not a big, not something hard to imagine. I mean, if you construct a CLI, that would be a first thing if you construct a CLI framework, that would be a first thing to implement. Modular, it's not in that example, but let's maybe open Commander.js actually to see other example of how to declare a command itself. I think it's called action. Basically you use a command method to declare a name of a command that will be used. So in this case is rm, and your package. So you declare your package as in package.json. So you have my CLI, and then the command is rm, and it contains it can take some flags as input, and it can take an argument directory. And then in action, you can provide what would be actually the action for this command, and then you can do whatever you want, because it's just JavaScript. And then you can, I don't know, require some other module which will take care of these arguments that you provided, and that's it. The other way of declaring commands in Commander.js is when you don't specify action at all, and that would mean that it should be somewhere here. Git style subcommands or multi-commands, like it's called git style subcommands. In Oclif framework, it's called multi-commands. Multi-command CLI, and they all give this example of Git, because Git has a multiple commands, and like a git add, git commit, and all of them have different flavors, different arguments. So in many frameworks and in Commander.js as well, there is such a possibility when you specify, this is just a different model. I don't care about it too much, and you see, you don't specify an action here. And what Commander.js will do here for you, it will search for a file called your package, then dash install in this local folder where your CLI is based. And if such a module is found there, it will give all the arguments that you provided for this command, and will call this script directly, let's say like that. So yeah, it's designed to be modular, and as I said, it has an auto documentation for all these options that you provided, so that's good. The next thing is inquirer, and that means yeah, like a nice survey or nice questionnaire that you can give to a user. Yeah, basically it provides a way for you to get input from a user. So you specify some array of questions with answers on them, and you can define what kind of answers you expect. Like, is it true Boolean? Is it multiple answers? And the inquirer has this nice interface for user to select many answers, or select one answer from it. So really powerful tool, and there are some alternatives actually to get input from user, and one of them is prompt. Yeah, I personally tried prompt and inquirer, and I think inquirer is more powerful, but it's also a little more bigger. It's like it has like 15 packages with dependencies, and yeah. Yeah, maybe it's worth it. Who knows? But yeah, I would prefer to use inquirer. However, prompt is less sized. And the CLI UX, it's another tool by Oclif framework. It's distributed as a different package, as a separate package, and it contains all kinds of nice utilities to not only to get input from a user, but also to show some nice output to the user, like table data. Yeah, why don't we just open it in NPM? I think they have really nice examples. Yeah, it's easy as that, and that provides you. It can open even a browser for you. It can output the table for user, and I think it also can do. Yeah, this is a table, right? Filter. Can provide you this nice tree. Yeah, so these are just let's say user experience utilities for CLI. So I encourage you to try them all. Vorpal is a different framework that can be used instead of Commander.js. Yeah, it has a nice features, but also it's a little like Commander.js. To be honest, I don't see much different in terms of declaration and maybe in performance-wise as well. It's a little newer than Commander.js and provides more features from the box. Have some doubtable experience, which is called immersive experience to me. So by default, when you go to the CLI based on Vorpal, you get into the yeah, I'm not sure if it actually shows in some of the demos in there, but basically, yeah, no, it doesn't show it like that. Immersive command line interface. Basically, it means that you start some session when you by default you enter some session. You type your command from your CLI command, and you enter the other terminal, which is interpreted by Vorpal itself now. So just a REPL. Maybe actually that was a Vorpal that uses a REPL internal module. I need to check it later on. Yeah, why not? Don't we just search it in here? Vorpal REPL, mod REPL. Yeah, well, at least I don't see that it's used the Node.js REPL inside GitHub resources. So yeah, probably it was a different one. Finally, the Oclif part. Jan It's a library that can help us to build CLI interface. I'm not sure, was it a question about Vorpal or CLI UX, but yeah, they can both help you with build a CLI interface. Yeah, if we were talking about Inquirer or CLI UX or prompt, that's they have features to both for input and output, and the Inquirer is mostly for input. It gives you ability to show different questions for a user when you have a nice experience to answer. You see some auto completion and stuff like that. And CLI UX contains more different utilities to also output some data in a table view, and so on. Maybe even to show progress. I'm not sure about that. Vorpal, on the other side, is on the other hand, it's let's say a big box of all kind of utilities. Well, yeah, it's a framework. Clearly, it's like you can. It's like a Commander.js when you can declare all the commands, and you can declare actions and how these actions can be interpreted, like which JavaScript code to use to call each one. Yeah, this actually. Yeah, I will send it to chat, the link on a tutorial on how to write stuff in Vorpal.js. It's not a big article, but yeah, it goes quite deep, so it can help you with constructing and this kind of CLI. Yeah, hopefully that was an answer, Jan. Let me know. The Oclif is a huge framework indeed, and this is done by Heroku Salesforce, and yeah, it has some opinionated ways of constructing CLI, well, like all the frameworks do. So yeah, some intro for this Oclif framework is that that was built by Heroku in 2017, and it was published to global NPM registry, let's say. Yeah, and some features that they have is that they support TypeScript from the beginning. So when you can use TypeScript in your Node.js project, and that would be your CLI program. So I don't know if you like a TypeScript or not. I'm not a big fan of it, especially on Node.js, because it doesn't help you with debug and debugging and so on. But if you're a fan, that's the way to go. And also, actually, you can use JavaScript if you want to, because yeah, you can generate your commands in JavaScript as well, not only in TypeScript. Yeah, this is code generation actually. So they have a dependency of Yeoman project, and they have some predefined templates to declare your commands, to declare your hooks. That's a different thing I will talk a little later on. Yeah, it also contains auto documentation stuff, so you also declare commands, but they are more nicely constructed, not like we just saw in a pure JavaScript manner like that, but they are separate classes, separate files. When you say, yeah, this is a command, it's called like that, you define some properties on this class, you define arguments that it takes, and then basically you have those commands in your CLI. Yeah, it also supports arguments parsing as well as all of these powerful tools do. And yeah, there is some topic in here like flags or arguments versus options versus all kind of different user input you can have. Yeah, by the way, do you have any idea what other options you can have for user input? We saw it already on Inquirer, right? Like when you ask some questions for the user, and then user can specify an answer. So there are different ways of doing that. First, you can provide some input flags, right? Like some text data, and they are also separate these concepts. Like you can have a flag, which is just dash dash or dash v or dash dash something, like a shorthand notation or big flag notation, let's say. But you can have also options when it's not just a flag, but you also specify some way to extend this property, right? You specify, I don't want to just say it's variables, but I want to specify in which format it is shown. And yeah, you can see it in many commands, like for example in many command lines. In Git you can have this command git log, and then you specify in which format you wanted to see the logs. Do you want to show author? Do you want to show date, and so on? So this is option. Argument is like a target that you want to interact with, and this is could be a file that you want to copy, or that could be I don't know. It could be some data that you want to put somewhere. Some object that you want to put to database, let's say, or name or whatever. So it's just a target, and there are some other user inputs possible, and that is, for example, the environment variable, or even yeah, what else? Yeah, basically it could be anything. Yeah, but these are the main for CLIs. Like I said, code generation. So Oclif provide a CLI named Oclif. So you install npm install -global Oclif, and then you get Oclif global package in your local machine. And with it, you just say Oclif generate new, and then or without new, not remember the syntax exactly, and then you specify single or multi-command line interface you want to generate. Yeah, we discussed briefly the difference between multi-line and single, not multi-line, but multiple commands and a single command line interface. And that will generate all kinds of files for you, and yeah, it will even create a README file for you, everything. Well, yeah, it's just a normal Yeoman functionality with a predefined templates inside Oclif. So you get a projects folder structure, and then some protocols already defined, like this files declaration, commands declaration, all of that. And you might get into the point when you want to extend somehow your commands, and that can be done in many different ways. And one of the standard ways with the Oclif framework is a thing called hooks. So you can specify some predefined hooks, like init hook or pre-run hook. It's not a huge list defined by Oclif itself, but you can also customize your hooks. Like you can say, yeah, I want to have my own hook named like that, and then in the code of your command you say, yeah, now I want to run my hook, and that would try to find this hook as a separate file which you declare in your package.json. And if the file is there, then it will just run this script for you. And yeah, eventually your code will be will be using these hooks for all kind of commands that you want to. Yeah, it's quite big one. So the Oclif framework also contains many other functionality. Abilities like to testing, to building, even to packaging your CLI, so you can produce one big executable file. Yeah, I just want to open Oclif introduction, Oclif documentation in here, just to show you that it's possible. Package debugging spinner custom release, I think. Yeah, so they provide this Oclif dev, and then you can pack it, and that will produce some package for you, even with the installer itself. So you see, it's really easy, but I think it's not a recommended way to to build CLI with Node.js. At least I would not recommend that. I mean, if you really need to distribute your packages as one executable, so you care that your users don't overuse other dependencies like Node, npm, and stuff, maybe you should consider to switch technology. So I would not pack a JavaScript CLI application. That's what I'm trying to say. It's a few more concepts that that's what I was talking about. So that's how you do. How you create a new command. You have this class defined in Oclif/command package, which Oclif will bring as a Node modulus dependency for your newly generated application, and then you specify your command, which extends the command. And then the async run function, or just run if it's not really async for you, then it will execute your all of your code. A few more packages that come within Oclif. The first one is Oclif config, which takes all the configuration from the plugin itself. It could be your command or just some external plugin. What I'm saying is that inside your command there is already this config defined, and that comes from at Oclif/config package, and it just takes all the information from package.json from your local environment, and then you have a big object with meta information in it, so you can use this config for it. The other one is Oclif plugins, and that is actually quite a nice one. With this one, you can say my CLI, my Oclif CLI, install some other plugin, and then you have external plugin installed for your CLI. So nice one. This is a little out of topic. We're going almost to the end now. So that was a question for you guys. So do you know how actually to run TypeScript in Node.js? What needs to be done? Well, you cannot run just Node some TypeScript file. You need to do some preparation. I see, Jan, your answer. Not sure what it means. Do you know or not? Well, there is a package tsnode which can transpile the TypeScript file for you on the fly. And the interesting part is how it's actually done in Node.js. And that is, that's a funny thing. I got two links in here. Well, first one is it's a modulus require extension declaration, in which you can specify actually how to interpret a file by its extension. So you can actually specify some function that will take any file of this extension, and it will produce some result from it. And the other one is this gist. I will send it to chat in a second. It has a really nice explanation of how it is possible to do a dynamic compilation, and it shows like you declare this extensions.js, and then you declare a function which gets some module when it's loaded already, and on this module you can specify underscore compile function, and this will get all the code from the file itself, and you can do whatever you want with this code. You can add some function calls. You can construct the program tree, abstract syntax tree from it. You can just give all the code to TypeScript compiler, and that will do all the stuff for you. So it will transpile TypeScript for JavaScript, and then you produce, instead of code, you produce the transpiled code of JavaScript, And here we go. That's working. That's already working in because it's JavaScript, not TypeScript. And in this example, what is done here? We first save the old compile function, which is just a JavaScript compiler. I think in internally it's calling V8 function, which also exists in Node modulus, in internal Node modulus, like as a V8 module. Run in VM, maybe. Yeah, VM. Sorry. So there is a VM module which can run some code inside the sandbox, so you can get a result from it. That's what you can do in here as well. So you can check if this will work, for example, and otherwise do some I don't know, throw some error yourself. But what you can also do, what TS Node does as well, it just transpiles the code to JavaScript and then puts it to the module compile. And yeah, that's it. Yeah, what I was saying about TypeScript here is because, as I said, Oclif is using TypeScript as a first citizen, so all your code generated by default is TypeScript. You can also specify JavaScript, but it's not required. I think we don't have much participants, so I will really like if you can provide some feedback on a webinar. I think I will skip the demo with Oclif because my OBS environment has gone and I want to interrupt the streaming, fortunately. So a few more words about libraries that can be used. So yeah, we discussed a little of the frameworks. That's Commander.js, that's Oclif, that's Vorpal. There are actually a few more. There is a glue gun. I haven't touched it myself, but it looks quite promising. It looks pretty much like Oclif itself, but maybe with a simpler structure, with less abstractions that Oclif gives. I think it's also using TypeScript by default. Yeah, but it also has an option to use JavaScript instead. Beside that, there are plenty of NPM modules that can help you with all kind of nice output. Like with Chalk, you can output colorful text, or with CLI UX, like a CLI as well, can produce tables, nice tables with a ASCII format for you. The progress package can show the status in a nice way, like you can show like how much download of file has been downloaded or uploaded or whatever thing it is. With Figma, you can also produce some ASCII output, but for any text you want. And that's a really nice utility. Yeah, and there are many more, like a clear terminal. So yeah, the list is really enormous. You go to npm, you do whatever you want, and you get all kinds of things you might need for producing a CLI. Yeah, I would say the main still would be an enquirer, and then the rest is for decorating your code, like tables and so on, the progress. So yeah, this all could make user experience much nicer and your CLI tool more successful. So don't stop at just basic functionality and do a next step, do a tool nicer for users. So if you need to put some file to a third-party server, which might take a minute or so, you can show a progress, and that would be really nice for a user already. Yeah, let's wrap up. We overviewed some basic CLI concept today. We talked a little about different NPM packages for developing a CLI, and we didn't practice with CLI, not today, and that's because my OBS has gone. I don't know where. Yeah, and hopefully we really understood some CLI concepts today. Like, that was a mostly overview for frameworks. Yeah, I would appreciate any feedback, and if you contact me on Twitter or in whatever way you prefer to, I would appreciate. All right, let me know what you think about it, and yeah, that was it. Thank you, guys. Thanks, Jan. Thanks for good feedback. Really saved the workshop, because yeah, I think you are the only one who participated, and that's why maybe it was not like I planned it to be like I missed all the demos and stuff. But next time would be, and next time I think it would be can be more people, and then would be more technical stuff in there. But thanks anyway for participating, and yeah, if you want to contact me, just I would yeah, gladly answer any questions. If you want this presentation or resources from it, yeah, just send me a message somewhere, and I will reach you. All right, thanks. I'm ending the stream then. Bye.